If you want to get into Purdue University, you have come to the right place. My name is Craig Meister. I'm a college admissions coach. You can learn more about me on my website, collegemeister.com. But today, for free, I'm going to tell you how you can give yourself the very best shot of admission into Purdue University as a first-year student. Tip number one, below this video is a link to my classic article, How to Get into the Ivy League Ethically. I want you to read it from beginning to end. No, Purdue is not a Ivy League school. No. But if you build your application in the same way as you would be building it for an Ivy League institution, I can all but guarantee that you are getting into Purdue University. So why not build your standards to the highest standards possible, which are delineated in that very important article. You want to have great grades, you want to take rigorous courses, you want to do well on the SAT or ACT. By the way, Purdue no longer has that as an option. You must submit your SAT or ACT scores to Purdue moving forward. So for all those reasons, definitely read that article carefully, because if you do, you're going to be putting yourself in a very advantageous position to get into whatever major you want to at Purdue, and even the most selective majors at Purdue, which, by the way, are engineering, nursing, veterinary nursing, anything having to do with flight or flight technology, and of course, computer science. Tip number two, if you are serious about getting into Purdue, I strongly recommend that you apply by the November 1 deadline. Get that application out as quickly and as articulately and as well as you possibly can in the early days of your senior year. This is particularly true if you're applying to one of the more selective programs that I just mentioned. But regardless of the program you're applying to at Purdue, you want to get it in by the early action / priority deadline. You'll get better scholarship consideration. You'll get better overall consideration. And the upside, of course, is that not only will you get your application in earlier, but you'll also get your decision earlier. No later than January will you hear of your decision. And that's just a great feeling to know that you've been accepted to Purdue by January of your senior year, as opposed to waiting all the way into the spring. So again, get that application in early. I always say, at a school like Purdue, the early bird certainly gets the worm. Tip number three, if you want to do the very best job of sharing what it is you have been doing outside of the classroom over your 4 years in high school, or now almost 4 years in high school, you definitely want to include more details about your extracurricular activities. In the past, at least, Purdue has had an extracurricular essay, if you will, where they want you to elaborate on one of your extracurricular activities. And I believe they're going to be bringing that back for the 2023-2024 admission cycle. But even if they don't, I want you to continue to share more details about your extracurricular activities than the bare minimum of what you must produce. And what I mean by this is that beyond the activities page of the Common Application, I want you to share additional details about the depth and breadth of what you've accomplished in the extracurricular realm in at least the additional information section of the Common App's writing page. Make sure to share at least 400, 500 additional words about the extracurricular activities you've already shared, details about minimally in the activities page in the additional information section of the writing page, and maybe just use all 650 words of the additional information section of the Common App's writing page to basically give an unabridged version of your resume, which is of course compared to the Cliff Notes version of your resume that you're allowed to give in the activities page of the Common App. So my point being, go big or go home. That's what I often say. If you have the opportunity to share more, do it, if that additional information will make it clearer to colleges of the depth and breadth that you would bring as an undergraduate student and person to the campus that you are applying to, which is certainly the case at Purdue. If Purdue continues to maintain their describe an extracurricular activity in more depth short answer, I want you to, on their supplement, I want you to treat that as though it's a little mini essay. I want you to have an introductory sentence or two. I want you then to have a body that goes and proves the thesis. And I want you to make sure that in the conclusion that you say something new. Don't just write very workmanlike or objectively about all the facts of your resume item that you're talking about, because if ultimately that short essay, if it still exists in the 2023-2024 admission cycle, reads more like a resume entry, it should have been in the additional information section of the writing page on the Common portion of the Common App. Instead, you want to treat it as more of a subjective piece where you share what you learned from or how you grew as a result of whatever extracurricular activity you choose for highlighting in that short answer. But the main focus of writing on the actual application, the supplement to the Common App for Purdue, will be their two very, very short essay questions. And we'll get to that in a moment. But before I do, I also want to just give a shout out to the fact that below this video are also links to my previous videos on how you can make the most of your Common Application essay. That is not, of course, Purdue specific, but you want to take the time and energy necessary to knock that out of the park. And I definitely recommend you watch my previous videos about how to strategize related to how to make your Common App essay as strong as it possibly can be. And then finally, in terms of Purdue University, I want to give you a little bit of attention now in terms of its specific short essay questions, both of which you must respond to in 100 words or fewer. The first question is, how will opportunities at Purdue support your interests both in and out of the classroom? And the second question is, briefly discuss your reasons for pursuing the major you have selected. I usually approach these two questions as a tag team with my students. And what I mean by that is I have students simply write a big love letter to Purdue on a Google or Word doc and put everything that they would like to be able to say to the admissions team at Purdue into that one long love letter, if you will. Then I take a look at it and then I start splicing and dicing and recommend how we can sort of separate the content into two distinct short essays. As you just heard, the first short essay is asking you to talk about Purdue holistically. So what is it about specifically the opportunities at Purdue that support your interests to go to Purdue both inside and outside the classroom? So this is the short essay where you would be able to share very quickly what about the campus life or the atmosphere or the culture of the school excites you, but also the grounding of that essay as well as the next essay will be, what do you want to study? So you at least have to give a sentence or two in that first one about, why you want to study something specifically at Purdue. So don't just put that into the next essay. Make sure that you also are at least giving a shout out to that in the first short essay, even though the first short essay is asking you to describe what about Purdue supports and the opportunities at Purdue support your interests both inside and outside the classroom. So you're going to be talking about yourself as both a student and as a person in the short final draft that you're going to do for the first question. For the second question, you want to briefly discuss your reasons for pursuing the major you've selected. This can be forward-looking. In addition to being moderately forward-looking, it can be quite forward-looking. So if you have the end goal of being an engineering, savant somewhere in the corporate world or starting your own engineering firm, work your way backwards. Say, my goal is to have my own engineering firm where we produce X, Y, or Z, and I believe that pursuing this particular engineering discipline at Purdue is an indispensable stop on my journey to reaching my ultimate goal. And then you can specifically describe in a few sentences one or two or three reasons why this particular major in particular at Purdue is so exciting for you. But you want to sort of anchor it in your long-term goals when you briefly discuss your reasons for pursuing the major you selected. It's not just because you really just want to dive into this subject for 4 years and be done with it. It's because you have a longer-term goal. So definitely allude to that in this last of the two short essays. You have 100 words or fewer with both of them. So they really don't a one sentence intro, a sentence or two body, and then a one sentence conclusion is really all you have space for both of those. So make sure that you're using every word wisely. Go through multiple drafting and editing rounds because you want to make sure that every word that survives into your final drafts of both of these short answers are words that really provide value added for your application and the readers of your application when they're being reviewed at Purdue. If you have more questions about how to worm your way into Purdue University or anywhere else for that matter, earn your way in is really the right word, not worm your way in. That sounds so dirty, but you want to earn your way into these schools, and I've just given you a roadmap how to do it at Purdue. But let's say you want more guidance and you want draft by draft editing support or college list development support or interview prep support for schools that interview, whatever it may be. If you have more college admissions questions, definitely contact me at collegemeister.com. All of my services are listed on that website with their price points. So I'm an open book. Go to collegemeister.com for that. Even if you don't want to work with me one-on-one, I encourage you to watch my back catalog of videos on this channel, youtube.com/collegemeister. And for additional free advice about how to navigate the college admissions process successfully, definitely go to the admissions news and notes website that I publish, which is over at admissions.blog. Other contributors also have articles on that site, so it's a menagerie of content that will help you make the most of your transition from high school to what comes next. Until next time, my name is Craig. Good luck in getting into Purdue. Stay safe and stay well, and subscribe to this channel. Have a great day.